Okay, this is day 3 and welcome to IT Professional Courses Canada Online Academy. Thank you very much for this. Okay, so today we're trying to do several things which are lined up here. Installing hotfix for SCCM 2012, R2, configuring discovery and boundaries in SCCM 2012, R2. First we're gonna actually overall try to know what is what are the components of the dashboard in SCCM and try to discuss more of the structure of SCCM. But these are the labs that are lined up, of course, with theory. We're not doing manage operating system deployment, so this will be something I need to not mention here. And it is go and gone. So what we're trying to do here is a hotfix configuration, then installation and configuration, then discovery and boundaries. What is this? So we're going to try to know that. Installing site system roles, what are those, then client settings, and then client installation. I hope we reach this client installation, but I'm just going to go back to where the hotfixes link was showing in the in the IT Professional Courses Academy under day 03. So you're enrolled to this 27243, and then if you go to day 3, the video would later be uploaded, of course. But these are the links. So I already have clicked this link. Hey guys, I'm just gonna mute the mic. Okay, so there is this hotfix that we need to download, and hotfix download available button is there, which we can click, and it just asks for I accept the agreement, and then it just asks for your email and request hotfix by email. Then it comes one day, it will come to you, and or one day or Monday or Sunday. No, I'm just kidding. So we're just gonna control V that request hotfix. So it's going to send this 5002 hotfix. I hope I already actually sent this link, so you guys must be having this already, requested that already. So hotfix, the second hotfix, I've just clicked the link there under day 3. It is also when the time comes when we're doing these labs, we're gonna know why we were doing that. But right now I'm just requesting these to in the email download links and the hotfix. So when they are they're already there. So as soon as you just mention your emails, you will just check your email, and hotfix is there. So let me just drag that here, and hotfix download link you requested. And for additional support, this and KB article location is you can see this exe file here, right? So this is the hotfix link for the first hotfix and then the second hotfix, right? So I'm just clicking the download here, and it's just going to ask where to put there. So I'm just gonna go down my gazillions of folders and go to the SCCM stuff and go to software. I already have the hotfix folder there. That's 2169, and this is 0359. Okay, I'm just gonna go ahead and download the first one, and then this email for the second one has also arrived instantly, which is 0586. So I'm just gonna click that, and it's gonna ask the same path, and in the hotfixes folder under SCCM stuff, I'm just gonna save the second one as well, and they are very small. So right click, show in folder, Then I'm gonna drag the folder here just to show. So these are the hotfixes, the two hotfixes that we're supposed to download. If I go to through date modified, so these are two I've just downloaded today. So 586 and 359, right? So you got the links, just go ahead and download those, and let's try to deploy that. So that would be our first lab, but before that, I'm just gonna go through those a little intro to what we have done last time, as well as what are we expecting here. We hopefully everyone has installed and is on the stage where we were last time. So everyone has installed SCCM. So how about in the chat you can put yes, no there. So everyone has successfully installed SCCM. Any issues you've been facing? You can type in the chat that if you're facing any issues, and but if you have successfully installed, no issues. Okay, good. So yes, installed successfully. Okay, great. I hope you've already also created screenshots for that. Some of you have sent a screenshot, thank you. Others, please create screenshots of every step you're clicking, and then put it in the Microsoft Word document. It's better to try to put some sentence against the screenshot that now I'm doing this, now I'm doing that. This will be this will be very, very useful for you as well. And this will also tell me that okay, you're really giving it a good shot. Also, so I'm just gonna put it on the notepad where I already lined up the last tasks. In last class, what we were doing was okay, so these are the tasks we did in the last class. So I can just put it day 02, and I'm just gonna line up some of the tasks here for day 03. So first, making sure that we have two client machines joined to domain. So let them get the IP address from DHCP as well. So Windows 8 and Windows 7, right? We're going to be discovering them later, and then going ahead with the hotfixes, and then for the discovery. So let's just go over this first. So I'm just making sure, and overview also. We're going to discuss that quickly. Overview of installed SCCM, what are the different components, and how does it work. A brief introduction. So then I'm just gonna be putting more steps here. So let's go back to my environment here and just trying to know what's going on here. So checking, yeah, video is going fine. Sorry. Okay, server 02 is our SCCM server. If I go to server 01 and go to DNS, so I can go from here or go from tools, same thing, and go to DNS manager. So forward lookup zone, and I have server 1 and 2 showing here, and server 1 is showing, it's supposed to be showing this 200.1, but it's also showing 31.140. This means that on server 1 or the domain controller, I have my internet up and running. I would want to disable that now. I don't need it because it might actually create problems in the traffic going for AAA and name resolution.
Although we can just also prioritize our network card by going to advanced and go to advanced settings, and then local should be our adapters and bindings. Local should be the first one, which should be receiving the traffic, and internet is the second one, which is already there. If internet was up, I would have just put it down, right, with these arrows like this, right? So anyway, it's already there, but I don't need internet on domain controller, so local is there already, and looking good. So one extra thing I would just do, just to make sure the name resolution is working fine, I would just go for ipconfig slash DNS. Okay, so and ipconfig slash register DNS, just to make sure. Oh, it requires a elevation. Right click. When you open a command prompt, we would need it so much that I'm just gonna right click and pin this. Wherever I open the command prompt the first time, I'm just gonna pin this, right? So command prompt, right click, run as administrator. Actually, this one I should pin. So just dragging this down, going up. I'm just taking time, making my environment a little more user friendly before we start the actual real stuff. This is real stuff as well. So ipconfig slash register DNS. I'll just leave it like that and go for my server 2, and there's internet available there as well. And if I go to the command prompt here as well, so nslookup, if I go for nslookup, well, IP is good. IP is our domain controller's IP or DNS IP, so we're good, we're okay, and everything seems to be okay. Now third and fourth client, Windows 8 and Windows 7 I have. Windows 7 is right on the installation, so I'm just gonna keep coming back and forth to it just to complete the installation while doing the other labs and stuff. So I'm just gonna name it SCCM Win 7. Okay, SCCM Win 7 next, and the class password, small ABC, capital ABC, shift 1 2 3, and a hint ABC. Next, product key skip. So if evolve version should be 90 days, which is good enough. Use recommended settings, restore time, yeah, whatever. Yeah, this is our work environment. Okay. Okay, so I'm just showing the client settings as well, that if we're just creating our full environment like that. Here on Windows 8, so that was Windows 7. Here on Windows 8, I would just want to again go for command prompt and pin this here as well, and nslookup for this. So this is a wrong nslookup because now we're going to be discovering our machines, Windows 8 and Windows 7. Sorry, and it shows here, maybe you are able to see that, but it is 88 days already showing, so it's activated, right? So when you download the updates, Windows updates for this, it gets activated. I do not need internet now to this Windows 8, so because I needed to really communicate with my SCCM environment, so for that I am just making sure which one is connecting to internet. Yeah, this one. So the second one I am just renaming on Windows 8. I'm just quickly making this environment. I hope you're understanding now. Even if you're not able to follow this very quickly, just videos recording, so you can properly create your configure your environment. So internet one I'm disabling on Windows 8. I have disabled internet adapter on domain controller as well, and later I'm just going to disable on SCCM as well. But for now I'm just making sure that all other components of the network are okay. So local Ethernet, so Windows 8 rename local. I'm just gonna create it like that, double click. Now I just wanted to see if it got an IP address from DHCP, so 200.60. So if I go to my domain controller here, go to tools, go to DHCP. Obviously it got it from my DHCP, but I just wanted to show as well where to go and check that. Address leases in DHCP. Yes, client 8, and it's 200.60 exactly. So it got it from my DHCP. Close. This means that I can safely join into the domain. Right click the this PC here in Windows Explorer and go to change settings here. And now so I'll just name it as well SCCM client 8, just like there SCCM Win 7. This is SCCM with naming, we can just put SCCM Win 8, and I'm trying to join to the domain. This is SCCM domain.local. Enter. Yikes. I should have checked that NSLOOKUP, although it's okay showing there. Yeah, 200.1. Now it's showing correct because I disabled the internet, right? So just SCCM admin there, and the password, class password, enter. Welcome, thank you. Just go. You must restart. Go ahead, restart. And the second one also is on internet right now. Okay, so this is another second machine that I'm just trying to make sure that it's connected to the network. I'm just going fast because and it has just it does not have two network cards, so I just want second network card for Windows 7 as well. So later, because on these clients we're going to be doing huge amount of experiments, right? So I just want to make sure that these clients are in perfect configuration state. So quickly doing the internet configuration for the second network card. Also, I need to know if my DC is on VMnet 15, because I need the first network card of Windows 7 to be on 15 as well, right? So I just went to DC here, and it is on VMnet 12. Okay, so I need my other adapter to be on VMnet 12 to communicate with domain controller. You can ask me later wherever it's confusing, or if I went too fast even for the video, although you can repeat the video, rewind the video, right? So VMnet 12 for the first network card, and second network card connected to internet and disabled for now, right? So that's the same configuration we've been doing for all the other machines. I'm just quickly making sure that these clients do not give us a headache when we really are trying to deploy software through SCCM, and when we are really trying to deploy updates through SCCM, when we are trying to actually did not detect the second network card, seriously. So network and sharing, adapter settings. Hey, where's my second network card? VMnet 8 connected, desktop VMnet 8. Okay, one day it's gonna appear, or Monday. So anyway, what I'm trying to see here now on my Win 7, if it got an IP from DHCP. So Win 8 has 200.60, Windows 7 has 200.61 from my DHCP, which is good. So what I'm just going to do is join this to the domain as well quickly, and right click, properties. It's slightly different, so later I'm going to be adding Windows 10 as well. And that's going to be a little tricky. No, when we're deploying Windows 10 through SCCM, some extra steps are there. SCCM domain.local. So okay, SCCM admin and the password. Now we got two machines joined to the domain and ready to be discovered by SCCM, but we haven't configured the discovery part, and that's what we're gonna do today after having a brief intro. So Win 7 is there. This is Windows 8, and I'm just gonna make sure that I'm logging in from domain account. So this is the local Windows account, so I'm just gonna go to other user, After clicking, okay, there are some WhatsApp from, sorry guys, okay, so yeah, SCCM admin. I mean, what time class starting today? It started already. No WebEx link to my email. Seriously? Chandra is another student. Guys, just Zach, one student is still stuck on day 3. Seriously? Okay. So, hey, isn't he joined to the group? Okay, just give me a second. That student really needs link for WebEx. Okay, what did I miss here? Participants, chat, recorder, annotate. What? Where's the WebEx? I think I just closed all WebExes. Sorry guys, just give me a sec. One student is just stuck. I'm already joined, and oh seriously, where's the link? Hey, there it is. Yeah, I've already joined to cancel and recorder. There was that invite link somewhere. Anyone else is no one. Oh yeah, there it is. Invite under mind. Email. Okay, guys. One more minute. And I'm sending this invite and telling this to this guy. Okay, that's copy meeting. Okay, because he's screaming outside the doors. Outside the doors. Good one, right? Okay, anyway. Sorry. So it's gone now finally, and he's still begging the door. Amir, where are you? And why did you not invite me? So Chandra is also not here, but he got the invitation. So guys, anyone can tell him now. Check your email. Check your email. Oh, hack your email. No. Check. Ugh. See. Okay. Back to the class, and sorry for this. So please check your email. He would be joining soon now. Okay. So what we were trying to do here is so I just made sure that my environment is good, and I'm just logging in from SCCM admin. And since it's joined to the domain, it detected that it's in an active directory, so it's just logging in from Windows 8 while just trying to do the same for Windows 7. So you can see you can see the different interface, right? So this will be, you know, for Windows 7 SCCM settings will be a little different, Windows 8 will be a little different, and Windows 10 it will be different. So we need to test all the flavors. That's used for Linux. But SCCM admin, and so okay, now server 1. They are joined to the domain. Let's just go to now the server 2, and there I'm just gonna go down this arrow and try to see where the SCCM has been, you know, where is SCCM has been installed. So if I go down here and SCCM's, okay, this is Microsoft System Center configuration. So configuration manager console is there under this heading, but if you can just go to search and config, so you can also type this and it will come configuration manager console, but we don't have to go back there again. Okay, there is a comment in the chat, I swear Win 8 pulls more resources than Server 2012. Whoa, really? But yeah, we have a lot of jobs coming in the market saying, hey, just upgrade our Windows 7 or Windows XP to Windows 8, and thousands of companies have done that already, but definitely Windows 8 needs to be lighter. And there's Chandra. Okay, cool. Okay, so this is the the SCCM dashboard, and everyone must be looking at this. So there is assets and compliance, there is software library here, there is monitoring here, down to the left, and administration area, right? So these are the 4 areas we're going to be coming and going back and forth to do several types of configurations there, and that's something we need to know. On every class we're going to be touching some of those options. So assets and compliance on the top, it will just have users area, devices area here. When I go and click assets and compliance and go on the top, I hope everyone's there, right? If you're having your environment in front of you, you should go to this area. So users, we will be discovering users from Active Directory, and I'm going to be going to devices, but you can see that server 2 itself has discovered, although we haven't configured the discovery options. That's a manual step that you have to take and do the discovery. And then there is that user collections and device collections. That's just all user groups, all users, or all users and user groups. So collection just means, as it says, collection of either users or collection of devices. And then there are further more areas of where mobile devices, collection of mobile devices, collection of all systems. All system just means everything, right? So all unknown computers, of course, it already is detecting 2 unknown computers, but we're going to come to that. I'm just giving a brief introduction right now. All systems is detecting actually 3 now, so maybe the domain controller and server 2 and one of the Windows 8 and Windows 7 clients, but we're going to be doing a proper discovery, and then we're going to deploy the SCCM clients on those machines. We're just talking about assets and compliance. So assets are our users and devices, right? So user state migration, when we do the migration, we're going to try to do that migration from Windows 7 to Windows 8 through SCCM. It's going to be pain but we're going to do that. Try to do that, and we're going to troubleshoot if we find a problem. Then asset intelligence is just about catalogs and whatever you have discovered or inventoried software. So this is all about software as well as hardware inventory. So in the hardware you can see all the software lists actually, but we're going to be discussing why this is the case. Software metering. So when we talk about assets and compliance, it's all about users, devices, software. Software metering is like if SCCM has deployed the software over WAN, and that WAN connection, or over the internet you're deploying this, or you're trying to take an inventory of certain software. Then if it is really metered connection that it's really costing you, so you can just put some settings there to cost you less, or do the discovery or the communication between the application or the device at certain schedules instead of 24/7. But we're going to be going and really trying to know what it is. And then compliance settings has exactly more configurations for making a baseline, just to see what is the company rules and policies basically, and how should be the what should be the baseline, what are the basic configurations that we are having right now, and then what have changed, and should it be the same way, or should we implement the new changes, new company policies? So compliance settings just is checking all the company policies, company related rules for SCCM. And the company resources, certificate profiles, VPN profiles, Wi-Fi profiles, this just goes beyond the branch. Endpoint protection is, as we already know that SCCM is leveraging WDS for operating system deployment. SCCM is using WSUS for software update services. So SCCM is also using for security Microsoft's endpoint protection, the forefront, Microsoft's antivirus. So there are these and other products we're going to be also talking about, briefly adding MDT as well to SCCM, and other products as well. From time to time we're going to be integrating and trying to check, and then the cloud version, which is Intune. But this is the Microsoft's and third product, which is Forefront, the antivirus for Microsoft. We can integrate that as well to provide security through SCCM. Okay, software library is application management. So of course we need to deploy software. We may want to upgrade software. We may need to migrate the configuration of software, or we need to unroll the software, uninstall from thousands of machines. So it's all about that. Then we can also offer application streaming. So the software is installed somewhere else and deployed somewhere else, but running out of some other machine. Anyway, this is all we're going to go through when we go for software library. Applications can be added here and then deployed to other machines. Then packages of applications could be made. Already there are 2 packages by default made. We're going to be talking about that too. Approval requests can be configured there, global conditions for overall settings of the applications, and also all software updates. Now this is the software updates area where WSUS will be area of the SCCM can be configured and updated and regularly monitored from here. The most interesting area is, if we go way down inside the software library, we're talking about is this operating systems. So you can just deploy operating system Windows 7 to maybe you have hundreds of machines there or thousands of machines there, and either they are bare metal machines or they have older operating systems and you want to just deploy, override the new ones or migrate from there to some new machine. So we're gonna do bare metal as well as the deployment for the migration where there's already an operating system, but of course you need to deploy with user settings all to a newer virtual machine or physical machine. But here in operating system images, we're going to be when we come to OSD, or operating system deployment as we say, but we normally call it OSD. So here we will be adding images of those operating system, Windows 8, Windows 7, and operating system installers. This is just like system files and boot files. Then there are boot images that are already there for the hardware type x64 and x86, but we're going to be discussing all the options. Then it comes down to task sequences, that first which task should be started when they have started deploying operating systems. So task sequences is all about it's going to do first this task over the network, first for example copy the boot files, then start the system files, then go for operating system over the network, then go for this. So there will be like 17, 18, 20, 40, 50 task sequences it could do. The more complicated you want to make, it will just go task by task, and you can remove some of the tasks. Hey, don't check the key, and don't check this, don't do that. So it's very important when we are deploying operating system. We're going to be working a lot on task sequences as well, and then virtual hard disks, that we can actually deploy virtual hard disk, ready-made virtual hard disks to Hyper-V machines through SCCM. Okay, so software library is all about operating system deployment and software deployment, and server updates, Windows updates. So definitely everything to do with software, and monitoring, of course, as it says, So alerts, queries, reporting. Definitely, our bosses would want to know, or we as a system administrator would want to know if our environment is really working fine, up to date, optimized, no errors are coming. So definitely, we're gonna go for alerts. Then there are, when you go to alerts, there's active alerts that are live alerts, just happened alerts that are coming, and then there are those. Then there are all alerts as well. Already there are some alerts showing there. Critical low free space alert for database on site. Hey, I got one. Anyway, I don't want to run out of space, so just making sure that this was a false alarm or what. Yep, false alarm. So anyway, all alerts are here. Then we can subscribe to alerts coming from other machines, so we can go for subscriptions and queries. We can type actually queries. We can put queries according to, we can just refine our search. Hey, I want to get alerts for specific client machines with specific scenario. Okay, there is a comment in the chat, where we can connect to user PCs. Oh, that's coming, don't worry. Administration. But let me just check. Yeah, it's going to be administration. So definitely SCCM is very powerful in connecting to remote PCs, and it's so powerful that if you connect to remote PCs, the users won't even know that you're connected. And don't try this. Oh, anyway, so according to your company policies, you're innocent until you're caught, right? Okay, I'm not suggesting go do that. Anyway, deployments, so it's all about alerts, and we're going to be coming here for reporting, and site hierarchy especially will be coming and trying to see once we create more sites, and deployments, client operations. So it's all about mainly giving you insight into what's going on right now and the reporting. As you can see, also endpoint protection status. System Center 2012 endpoint protection is also still a separate software for Microsoft for malware, but it's going to be integrated. It is integrated in SCCM, and we're going to check how we can separately deploy this. Normally, companies have McAfee or other end-to-end protection of McAfee they're using with antivirus and other stuff. So you can even deploy, although McAfee has its own servers and deployment systems, mechanisms, you can also do the McAfee client or configured client installation at least through SCCM, but McAfee has its own very good mechanisms of deploying McAfee, client software. But we can do that through SCCM, as we're going to discover. Administration is very, of course, important. That's where we're going to start. Discovery methods are there. So we're going to, if we click here, so there are 5 discovery methods. We're going to be configuring this after we install the hotfixes. Then boundaries are there, and boundary groups are there. So boundaries are that you want to detect the clients of, you want to discover the clients of, just suppose there are Toronto and New York branches. So Toronto has 192.168, 200.1 up to 200.100 machines, and then you can just define through subnets, hey, discover all the machines in this range from 200.1 up to 200.200, suppose. Or you can just discover branch wise. You can discover so you have to just put some boundaries that you just don't go ahead and discover all the 10,000 machines across 10 branches, and you don't want machines that are not your responsibility even. So anyway, we're going to be talking about that when we come there. Then there are Exchange server connectors here that SCCM can connect to and try to deploy through Active Sync. It can use through Active Sync, Exchange's Active Sync connector to actually deploy software to devices that are connected through Active Sync. But we need the Exchange environment for that. At least we're going to talk about that and in detail. Database replication, if you have 2 databases, we have 1. And then cloud services, of course, Microsoft Intune subscriptions. We're going to be connecting through to Intune as well. Site configuration, very important. So we're going to be talking about the 20 site roles in SCCM. 20 site roles. So just like if I go to add roles and features here for Windows, that's not SCCM, not SCCM. Just giving the example, these are all the roles, right? So there are site roles for SCCM as well, and we're going to be going through them, and we're going to be deploying actually 2 or 3 of them on day 1. And when we go for servers and site system roles, then there is a wizard that we can start, and it's going to show us all the roles and what roles we want to install. If we go by default, some of the roles that help SCCM run basically are already deployed there, but some of the other roles we will be deploying one by one as per our need and as per our lab. The client settings, one of the most important areas to configure in the start, carefully configure. So once you deploy SCCM client to client machines, you first have to still configure, I'm deploying a small software called SCCM client to all the Windows 7s and all the Windows 8. This small software will help me connect or communicate between those Windows 7s and Windows 8 machines to SCCM server. So that small software that I'm about to deploy, what settings it should have, what should it tell all the Windows 7 and Windows 8 machines, that how are you supposed to communicate with the SCCM server, right? Then there are security options here for delegation, as well as creating accounts and putting certificates there, that who gets to access what. Distribution points, we did talk about distribution points. From here we deploy software, operating system, and Windows updates to all the Windows 7, Windows 8, Windows 10, and cell phones, whatever it deploys to, it will deploy through this distribution point. And our distribution point is mentioned here, our own server 2, right? And then you can have distribution point groups here. Of course, in large organizations we have several distribution points. So for Toronto, 1 distribution point; for New York, 1 distribution point; for London, 1 distribution point. The clients of Toronto should not be connecting to the distribution point of New York. Of course, through site code they would know, our distribution point is this server on Toronto, and we don't have to go across the WAN to communicate with a distribution point of New York or London for that. Anyway, and then there is that migration thing. So source hierarchy, migration jobs, distribution point migration. We can actually migrate distribution points as well. So I also mentioned that distribution points normally are also installed on file servers, because file servers already have a long list of software available there. So you don't have to specifically copy MS Office in a new distribution point you're creating, while MS Office files are already present on a file server, and maybe hundreds of other software that company normally use and expect us to deploy to hundreds or thousands of machines. So we can just later we're going to discover that we're going to do that as well, that how to deploy just a distribution point on a separate machine and communicate from that to our SCCM server and the clients as well. Anyway, this is just a brief intro to some all the features and options that we have available there. So assets and compliance, software and library, monitoring, and administration. So let's go ahead and try to first install the hotfix, because without hotfix I did that mistake in one of the class in the early class that I did not install hotfix before, and then we had to learn it very hard way that we should have installed it the first thing when we had just deployed SCCM. So exactly that's what we're gonna do. This was a brief intro, and this is an area we're gonna be working a lot on. So our topics today, while so let's just deploy the hotfixes and then go ahead with all the topics and everything, right? Because it's going to take a little time as well. So for that, I'm just going to make sure that the hotfixes are copied inside our C drive, actually the E drive, separate drive we have, right? I also created a third drive because you saw the video, day 2 video, right? So I had to show how to add a drive and configure it. So in that case, but if you have E drive, which is good enough, right? So I'm just going to E drive and I'm checking that there's a software folder. There are extra folders also available here for SCCM, which have been created automatically, and I did not create that. But just leave them for now, and we're going to be talking about them later. Now the software folder where we already have our source pack 2 and ADK. If you want to save some space, we don't need ADK now, right? So you can just even delete that now. ADK, we put it in the software folder, so I just deleted that. I don't need source pack, SQL source pack 2 as well, because I already deployed that. Just deleting that. Beartail, guys, it's a very good software for following up with the log files of all the servers you're responsible for. So what's the good thing about it is that if some log file is filling up and continuously filling up, so that it just shows all the things, all the lines live on it. And also if you want to highlight whichever line is mentioning fail, whichever line is mentioning success, it greens makes that success line green and fail line as red. And the live logs are shown here, lines going up or down, So I'm just gonna share that as well. This is very good. I mean, in production environment we also use that. Beartail, or you could just go to Beartail, Google Beartail, and you're gonna download it. It's very small, just 220 KB actually. Wow. Okay. So I'm just gonna go back to my folder where I had copied in the start of the class. These are the 2 files I copied. So I'm just going to select both of them, right click, copy, and go for I'm gonna be putting it in the second server, which is our SCCM server. There you go. And these are both the hotfixes. So double click any one of them, continue. It's saying it's going to just deploy those files in E. So I'm just telling it to go to E drive and go to software, press OK, and press OK. So successfully. So this is the file created by this one. And I'm just going to double click, actually yeah, let's just double click the second one as well, just to unzip it. This is just unzipper. So going to browse, going to E drive again, and just telling it to put this file inside the software folder. Press OK, second file is there. So I'm just gonna start deploying the first one. If you're following me, let me know if I'm going fast, but this is recorded as well, and I would recommend that you go try to understand now. If you're good quick enough and your environment is really good, I mean like really cooperating with you, so go ahead with me. If you are a little back, if you miss something, you can ask me, and if you can come up. But otherwise, try to understand this, right? And do repeat that at home if you're unable to repeat with me right now. So I'm just double clicking that file on SCCM, inside the SCCM server, the first file. Anyone, you can just double click anyone, right? Press yes, because we're gonna deploy both. So I just 5002 I've started this. Welcome to setup for software update for system standard 2012 or 2. You're gonna write this update directly to the following. Okay, this will come and I will explain, but I'm just going for the hotfix deployment. Next, verifying no active configuration manager consoles are open. So in our case, this is open, so I'm just gonna close this and run again. Is here, so yeah, it's okay now. Verifying no active configuration manager consoles are running. Yes, successful. Next, install the update for the configuration manager and making sure if it requires internet, the internet is still there. I haven't yet disabled internet on server 2. So next, so here it's saying that site servers, what it's going to upgrade. So select the systems to include in configuration manager packages. So this hotfix is going to fix these areas: site servers and computers that run the SMS provider. SMS provider is trying to communicate, make the communication possible between consoles and the database. So this is the server where we have a console and the database as well. So then configuration manager console, which we have here on this system as well, and the clients. It's going to configure clients settings in the console as well, right? So yeah, all settings are okay. Next, if you miss some point, just put it in the chat or come on the mic and just ask, hey, can you repeat this? So don't be shy about that, right? So okay, so I'm just going for package, program, and where it's going to be installing. So let's just go next. Update package for consoles next, and update package for configuration manager clients. The three this 3 areas we selected, it's going to just deploy it for deployment packages for clients, for consoles, and for servers, right? Install. And this is very crucial, and since I learned it the hard way, and now I'm not taking any chances. So when we were doing operating system deployment, we were not able to do that, and we troubleshooted everything until one of the forums was pointing this error to, hey, did you install that hotfix? And I was like, oh my god. Okay. So this is the first one. Then I'm gonna just go for the second one. If you're doing it with me, that's good, because nothing technical so far. If you have Windows 8 and Windows 7 yet to join the domain, just go ahead, do that too. But this is just unzipping the file and double clicking it, and installs on the SCCM server. So we're doing it all on SCCM server, right? So while this is going on, I'll just visit back that file. So making sure the 2 clients machines are joined to the domain is done. Hotfixes in progress, and overview of brief overview is actually done, but we now, after hotfixes, we are supposed to go for the discovery world and watch the new show on dinosaurs. No, okay, so discovery channel. Discovery, and there we're going to be talking about boundaries and how do we discover. Sometimes it's a huge environment where you're just introducing SCCM, so what precautions we should take, and how what are the optimized ways of discovering all the network assets, and what we can leave for next time as well. So all these options. And while this is, I'm just gonna check if, yeah, it's still going on, so I'm just gonna go back to the slide now. And so installing site system roles, we're gonna be talking and checking about site system roles, configuring client settings, yeah, very important before we deploy the small software which helps communicate Windows 7, Windows 8, Windows client machines to the SCCM server. So that small client software has to be there. If that client software is not there, that machine is not available as per SCCM, right? So we have to deploy that client, SCCM client software to all the network machines that you want to manage. And if the SCCM client software is deployed but is not active or corrupted, of course, again the machine, that client will not be able to give information about that Windows machine to the SCCM server. Anyway, very important. Client installation. So first we make some settings in the client that before we deploy the client, let's just change this. So when the client reaches a Windows machine, it should communicate in this way and tell the machine the correct information, right? So then we will do the deployment of client, and that's another, interesting topic. It's not easy as well. So we go ahead. We already went through the overview of System Center family of products, and we're just System Center. There's App Controller configuration. This is what we're doing, Configuration Manager. But the Microsoft Private Cloud certification, which is now a very hot one, that includes Operations Manager and Data Production Manager and SCCM and Service Manager. So System Center set of products it's just using for cloud certification. And this is the environment I'm always in the last two classes I was explaining. So right now we're working on just one site, primary site, and we already have a SQL database here, and this is the primary site we're about to configure, right? So as per the diagram, and these are the 4 machines we should have. So server 1, server 2, and I just configured briefly quickly Windows 8 and Windows 7. Join it to domain, let it cache the IP address from the DHCP. So we're kind of good here. You should also be making sure that before discovering, which is the next thing we're gonna do, you should have your Windows 8 and Windows 7 joined to the domain. So okay, everyone has Windows 7 and 8 joined to the domain. You can just put in the chat yes or no. Everyone has Windows 7, 8 joined to the domain. Yes, no. You can put it on the chat yes or no. So there's a yes. So okay, Windows 7, Windows 8. Anyone else able to join machine to the domain successfully? You can put it in the chat. Okay. Privately the messages are coming. Okay, so there is client 01. So this is the environment we should have. Okay, you're joining. Cool, that's good. And even if you don't have it ready now, but of course you have till next Tuesday to get your network up and running, and of course you have to follow what we have done today, and please send screenshots. Okay, so I'm just gonna go ahead next. Static IP on server operating systems, of course, and okay, Mnawar, let me know if you have any. So there's another comment in the chat, so I hope you get well. Whatever is Islam is, I will say. So yes, let me know, and I can help you as well. So you still have time. Static IP on server OS, and let client machines take IP address from DHCP. That's what exactly we did now. And let's go ahead a little. So this is what we did, or we are doing right now, installing hotfixes, and these are the knowledge base articles which explain, or KB or knowledge base articles that explain what these hotfixes will really fix. So, and then when we go ahead, when you have resources in your company and to gather resource information, so this is configuring discovery and boundaries in configuration manager. So this is the next topic. So if I go back to my, okay, it's done. And if I go to view log here on the right side, so well, it has huge amount of update completed successfully. That's what I want to see. Successfully, good. Well, it's already showing here, right? So next, and finito. So the first one is done. Let's just go for the second one. Same drill. Double click. Yes. Next. Although there will be still some troubleshooting coming, but this is going to really save us some frustration. Okay, accept the license. Next, and it verifies everything. All the prerequisite check is okay. Next. and it's going to just make changes to the site servers and computers that run the SMS provider, which is again this computer or any SCCM server itself, but not making changes for any console and client related areas. Next, that's it. So the path and what knowledge base article it has, or the KB, and it's gonna be not long, shouldn't be. So, oh yeah, one more thing is that on server 2, if I right click the settings, and for our server 2 virtual machine, this is going to be doing the main heavy lifting. So it's better to put it to 4 GB. If you have 16 GB, go ahead for that, right? Otherwise you have already 4 machines, and 8 GB, don't try this stunt. It's going to be a stunt if you have 8 GB. So if you have 16 or more, just go for 4 GB for this SCCM server, right? So pressing OK here, it's not going to, I think I have VMware Workstation 11, so maybe in 12 it just changes it, but in 11 it doesn't unless I restart it, right? So I'm gonna be restarting. Oh, okay, hotfixes are done. In fact, if it asks me for a restart, then I'm gonna restart, otherwise it might take a long time just to come back. And let me just add this task as well, that you know, change the server 02 VM memory from 2 GB to 4 GB. Okay, done. So we could just know what we're doing and what we have done. Control S. Okay, once this is done, I think it's pretty clear, nothing technical here for now. Next, finish. Okay, ideal part, it's ideal to always go for restart of the machine. Okay, I'm just gonna create a folder here called hotfix, so because later I'm gonna be adding more software here, so I don't want these to be mixing up weird, you know. So I'm just gonna put that to just organize it now, because later it's gonna be messy. We're gonna be adding more software here for deployment. Okay, minimize. It didn't ask specifically for restart, so okay, it's Microsoft. Guys, restart. Right click, I mean, like go to the PowerShell and just go for restart dash comp, press tab computer, and here it goes, enter. So it's restarting. You know, it's hotfixes and I really want it to work, but it's Windows machine, so it's restarting, and I hope it doesn't take that much time to come back. So let's then start configuring the discovery. I'm just gonna make sure that okay, Windows 8, Windows 7 machines are first of all up and running. Second thing is Windows 7 machine, if I go to command prompt and right click and pin this program as well, if I go to NSLOOKUP, of course it should be, oh, it's not giving the correct NSLOOKUP. Why? Because it's connected to internet. Not good. Oh, there's the second adapter, which was not showing before. So again, for the second adapter that connects us to the internet, yeah, this is the second adapter. I'm just going to rename it internet, because we will be requiring internet from time to time. So, and disabling it now. I don't need it now. In fact, I should have activated it for 90 days. And now if I disable the internet one and control C out of this NSLOOKUP interactive mode and up arrow to put NSLOOKUP again and enter, it should be giving me the 200.1. Yep, it is. So now it's connected to our DNS server. Okay, because I need it to be discovered, right? Oh, okay. Sorry, should I do what? I added the network card. Yeah, so NSLOOKUP, I was just checking. here it was 31.2 because the second network card had internet connection, so it was just looking up my home Rogers router. So I disabled it. As soon as I disabled the internet NIC, so it just automatically went to the enabled one, and enabled one is of course the static IP, and it's connected to our local DNS server. So I just did the NS lookup again. So I control C out of that, and then I up arrow this NS lookup, enter, and it gives me the other one. But you can come on mic if you want some longer question. Otherwise you can type it, or if it is okay, the answer. Yep. So it's 200.1 is IP. It's DNS coming me, but the only thing I did was disable the internet. That's all. Did you give the clients? So there's a comment in the chat. Did you give the clients a static IP first before joining the domain? So, oh, okay. So, did you deploy DHCP? Because on day one I deployed the DHCP, so I did not give static IP to the client. It's getting IP from my DHCP, and you have to make sure that client network cards, which I'm showing now, you have to make sure that both Windows 8 and Windows 7 clients, their network card is connected to VMnet 12. In my case it is VMnet 12 because my domain controller is on VMnet 12, so they could communicate and the DHCP grabs it. So yeah, DHCP should be reaching the client, and if you don't have DHCP for now, you can just give the next sequentially available next sequentially available static IP for now, and later you can just join it to the DHCP for now. Okay, so yeah, okay, so now let's just go to the discovery part, and we get to install the updates. We have restarted the server. I just want everything. I'm just going a little slow here, just to make sure that everything is in place, because if you miss something, and SCCM is a bit complicated, you miss something, you really have to troubleshoot that. Sometimes troubleshooting takes time as well. So going step by step, making sure we know what we have done, what we are about to do. Done, in progress. Okay, this is done as well. Done and restarted actually. So now we have these tasks done, but there are lots of other tasks. Discovery and boundaries. So that's the second next topic, and then we're going to be doing the installing site system. We're going to be discussing a lot about that. Site system roles. We already know that it's all the other roles that extend our management functionality for SCCM. If we need a role that's just letting us do some specific tasks and enabling some specific features, then we configure client settings. First we configure client settings, configuration. Once client settings are configured, then we actually deploy clients, and that's also several ways to deploy clients, and it's kind of tricky and you need some troubleshooting. So yes, everything's live, so that's the fun part. Okay, next is discovery and boundaries. Let's go there and check it out. What's that? Before that, let me just open my SCCM. There it is, Microsoft System Center, and configuration console is the one I'm going to be opening. And one more thing, I don't need to go to this and then this. So in fact, now I opened the SCCM. Let's just pin that as well. Pin this program. Hey, I already pinned that command prompt. So I'm just gonna go back here, command prompt, and And you know what? I need to pin the administrator one, the run as administrator one, not the last time I think I unpinned it. So hold it. Now this one is open. Pin this one as well. So these two should be here. I don't have to go inside and press hotkeys for the command prompt or this one. Close this. Okay, now next time it should be here, not inside, or any other regularly used functionalities. Just pin them there. So now let's just go ahead and do the discovery. And for the discovery, we have to. So I have on my right side some of my millions of screenshots. So that's why you will see me looking at the right side. There's a big monitor on my right side where I'm just making sure I'm not missing any of the steps. Otherwise, there are lots of steps there. If you go back to the slide, first of all, Configuration Manager 2012 R2 uses a variety of discovery methods to gather resource information, and each of the discovery methods gathers information about different objects. So there are computers, there are users, there are printers, routers, whatever has IP address, right? Or if you want to discover through IP address, you want to discover through Active Directory, inside the organizational units, containers, and there are different various methods too. When you have resources in your company and to gather the resource information, Configuration Manager makes use of methods called discovery methods. So that's discovery methods we're going to be going through. If I go ahead a little, so there is that Active Directory forest discovery, and as the name suggests, it discovers Active Directory sites and subnets, and then creates Configuration Manager boundaries for each site and subnet from the forest. So we're going to be discovering, either we can just click the Active Directory forest discovery. We can go for Active Directory group discovery, which is just security groups, right? Maybe you have created a computer security group for New York computers having 200 computers, or for example you've configured for Toronto computers. So security groups could be for users, for computers. You want to discover through groups. Maybe you already have those available. We don't have those, right? Also, if we go Active Directory system discovery, so if you want to discover the computers in your organization from specified locations in Active Directory domain services, then we use Active Directory system discovery. We're going to be using that in order to push the SCCM clients into the computers. The resources must be discovered first. So we want to push that small software, SCCM client software, to the Windows clients, but for that we need to discover them first. So that's what we're about to do. Let's go ahead. So there is an option to discover the computers that have logged on to a domain in given period of time. This way you won't discover obsolete computer accounts, right? Very, very important. So in large organizations, it happens that some of the users have left the company, some of the users have gone to the other department. So their computers, even if they are sometimes they are left like that, and desktop teams will later configure them and they forget. Or sometimes they have actually given that computer by renaming the operating system of that computer to the new employee's name, and given it to the new employee, but the old name is never removed from the Active Directory. So there are a long list of old names, always old names as well, which are not existing there, and you can see all those names in the Active Directory, and you have no idea. Is there an actual computer behind that name? Or did they rename it and they forgot to tell us that, hey, delete that from that directory as well? So if any of these is the case, then just it discovers only those computers which have been logged in to by the users, right? So this is a very good function. Otherwise it will discover all the computers or all the names of the computers behind which there is no computer actually. So you'll be trying to deploy the SCCM clients, and SCCM software will, there will be failure, and then later you will discover, oh, there is no computer behind that name. Anyway, there's that task that there are now some scripts that actually detect that, okay, this computer haven't logged in for 1 year, this computer hasn't logged in or connected to Active Directory for authentication for 6 months, for 90 days. So it's up to, if that has been case, we can make that will be assuring to us that, okay, delete this guy. If 90 days or 365 days this computer has not been communicating in a very large environment, then okay, just delete it. So Active Directory user discovery, of course, this is very obvious, it discovers users. So you will have to specify the Active Directory container, maybe organizational unit for Toronto, organizational unit for New York, or for London. You have to specify that, hey, discover just throughout the Active Directory all the users. It's up to you. Or security groups, specific security groups. Then there is heartbeat discovery. Okay, there's a question, what is a typical period of time for discovery? If it's a large environment, sometimes it takes some machines may be down at that time you started discovery. So suppose you started discovery at Friday night and some of the machines are not even there. So if the machines are there, they will be discovered like within 15 minutes to 2 hours to 6 hours, depends on network bottlenecks, depends on machine is restarting at that time, depends on there could be any, in large networks it takes time to discover machines. In our very small networks, even then it's going to take a little time, and we have to discover, see, oh, what's taking it the time here. But anyway, it could be 15 minutes up to 2 hours that maybe 500, 1,000 machines will be discovered. If they're on, they are communicating. It all depends on many factors across the network. But if they're on the network, yes, some machines are quickly discovered, some are not. Heartbeat discovery is, so we're going to be seeing all these discovery methods just now. So heartbeat discovery is that the heartbeat discovery runs on every configuration manager client and is used by active configuration manager clients to update their discovery records in the database. So what it does is, hey, are you alive, Windows 7? All you 2000 Windows 7 machines, are you alive? Yes, we are all alive. Okay, again, heartbeat after, as you said, note that the heartbeat discovery is enabled by default and is scheduled to run after 7 days. Hey guys, remember me? 7 days back, I asked if you're alive. Are you still alive? Yes, we are all alive. So every 7 days, it's there. It's not just asking, are you alive? Yes. So we're not supposed to touch that, right? Okay, network discovery. Again, the network discovery searches your network infrastructure for network devices that have an IP address. It can search the domains, SNMP, Simple Network Management Protocol, which are just community discovery device mechanism, SNMP devices and DHCP servers to find the resources. It also discovers devices that might not be found by other discovery methods. We're going to see that discovery method as well. This includes printers, routers, and bridges. So, boundaries. Now, let's just go for discovery now. So, what we have learned till now, there are 5: Active Directory forest discovery, group discovery, system discovery, user discovery, heartbeat discovery, network discovery, and discovery. Okay, last one, just ignore that. Right. So let's just go ahead and go for our environment. So if I go to administration, so I'm just going down to administration here, and then I am going for discovery methods here. If I click that discovery method, there is all those methods that we discovered, no, that we read. So Active Directory forest discovery is there. Double click that. Let's just double click that. Yes, we need to discover everything. So SCCM, go ahead, we allow you to do that. So enable Active Directory forest discovery. automatically create Active Directory site boundaries when they are discovered, automatically create IP address range boundaries for IP subnets when they're discovered, which is kind of cool. And it can run every 1 week or 1 days or 1 hour. Wow, 1 hour is very aggressive, but this is something. So I'm just checking my notes as well. Yes, we have to just go for all the discoveries here. But what is saying here? Site boundaries automatically create Active Directory site boundaries when they're discovered. So suppose there are more than one site. Maybe there, as I'm just taking the 3 names. In fact, let's just create that scenario where we have 3 sites here. Although we're just working for now on 1 site, I'm just giving that scenario just to have it in our minds, that if we have one Toronto site with users, it's just a scenario that we can refer to from time to time. Users are 2,000 users, and computers. And then when we go for the second one, it's NY or New York site with New York is a pretty populated area, so let's just give them lots of more users. So 4,000, 5,000. If you want any discount, it's okay. You can just suggest that or increase. I'm just kidding. Okay. And the London one, also 3,000. So we're having 3 branches here, and we're gonna be just referring for 2,000 computers here, 5,000 here, 60,000 there. We can have primary site. We are having in Toronto site a primary site configured. We can have a secondary site if it were 200, 500 users, but we are going this if it has lots of users. Actually, SCCM is capable of handling sites with 50,000 users or 100,000 users or 200,000 users as well, and that's where we really ask for, hey, put a primary site here as well and here as well, and then handle these 3 primary sites with the central administration site or CAS. But we're just going small right now, so I'll just refer to that from time to time. So if we were talking about automatically create Active Directory site boundaries, there are 3 sites right now, so it is supposed to discover that there are 3 sites, because if they are part of the same forest, it's supposed to discover that, right? But we have to tell it, okay, there are 3 Active Directory sites that are connected there. Anyway, later we're gonna be adding another site or another server with a separate subnet and connect them together just to see that how can we go site by site. Okay, anyway, we're just telling, hey, discover the whole forest. Just go ahead. Any IP address range, you just see that, just discover it and try to. So apply, I'm just clicking apply here. Do you want to run full discovery as soon as possible? Yes, I want to run the full discovery as soon as possible. What else? Press OK. So forest discovery, I've enabled that. Let's just go for group discovery here. We don't have any security groups right now. We are not specifically going for group discovery, so we're just going to be we can just go for all groups here, but just to show that how group discovery really works. So I'm just gonna click this enable Active Directory group discovery. If whatever groups are there, just show us. So enable Active Directory group discovery. If we just click that and go to add here, either we can have number of groups or we can have it location wise. So if we click location, I just clicked location, right? Oops. Yeah, let me just grab that chat window here. That is yep. Okay.
So what I did was I just went for enable Active Directory group discovery, then go for location. And here, what is it saying anyway? Enter the location by using distinguished name DN for an Active Directory forest, domain, container, or OU, or browse to the location. So we can just go and browse, click browse, and maybe the location is this, the whole domain here. Suppose if we click that, press OK. So I can just put here Toronto. Oops. Okay. You could just put any name here, but it just then we have to put this. It's going to just put it in that distinguished name format. That it's we can discover the groups across this domain, right? So, and recursively search Active Directory child containers. Yes, go ahead and discover all the security groups under the sub containers as well. So pressing OK here just shows that yes, if we want to search the groups, this is what we can do here. For polling, polling just means that okay, first time it's going to discover the whole Active Directory. Then enable delta discovery. What is delta discovery? Whatever changes later are available in Active Directory, just discover. Suppose there after 3 weeks or 1 month you create 2 more security groups, one for users, one for computers, so it will just discover the new things as well. So delta discovery interval every 5 minutes is going to be checking for a change in Active Directory for any security group. Maybe you removed members of some security group and maybe you added 100 more members in another security group, so it's going to discover all that. Anyway, so options, when we go for options, now there's that option that's I was mentioning about, only discover computers that have logged on to a domain in a given period of time, right? That's what we were talking about, that okay, if there are old computers which are not, which have spent more than for 90 days nobody logged in from those computers, so don't discover them, right? So we can just click that as well as a best practice, but in our environment if we uncheck that, doesn't matter. So then there is only discover computers that have updated their computer account password in a given period of time, or that have logged on to a domain in a given period of time, discover the membership of distribution groups. So we can just, according to our need, we can configure any of those. I'm just clicking that, but it's even if I uncheck that, doesn't matter. If I click that, doesn't matter. We don't have that criteria, but we should know what is this and where it is, right? Apply, yes. Okay, system discovery. That's where we would be expecting these 2 computers to be discovered. So let's just get over with the system discovery. So again, it's the container we are adding, and then where there's a heartbeat discovery here. So I'm just going to do the same steps here. I just was looking at my screenshots as well, which I tested, that if I'm not missing anything. So first of all, I'm just going to enable Active Directory, because now after this I'm going to be asking everyone who's following that was your computer discovered, was your Windows 8 and 7 discovered or not, after doing these steps. So enable Active Directory system discovery and Active Directory containers. It is saying that, it is showing that here, right? So if I go to this area here, the star, the yellow one, now it shows where's the location. Specify an Active Directory container to search during the discovery process, right? So click browse. We can just stick to the top of the domain and say, hey, whatever computers are there in our domain, just discover them. Go ahead. So, or we can just go for just domain controllers, or we can just go for only computers. But I'm just gonna stay there because I need to see all 4 if it discovers that. If not, then I would be thinking why it's not discovering all 4. Okay, so I'll just stay on the top and press OK.
There it is. Recursively check the child containers or child or use as well. Yes, go ahead. Discover objects with Active Directory groups. Okay, whatever groups are there, just try to discover the systems there inside the groups as well. Use the computer account of the site server. No. So computer account, whatever we are logged in from, just use that. In fact, as a for the best practice, I needed to double check if we are adding our specific account as well. No, we're not. But if I just go there and guys, let's just set that, because when it discovers, we need it to, because it's not saying anywhere. The Active Directory discovery account must have read permission to the specified location. Use the computer account of the site server, which is actually our SMS, SCCM site account. But let's just make sure that our domain admin account is specified here, so we get the discovery first time. We don't have any hurdle just because of permissions. So specify an account, and I'm just going for, I'm not creating a new account, I'm just making sure that existing account is there. And oh, sorry, if it should be, yeah, it should be already showing there. Okay, let me just check. SCCM admin, it's already not there, and I had to, we had to actually add it there. So yeah, sorry, it was not here, but this is the same area that I'm going to show you later. There, if it is added, then it will show up here, right? Even one more thing is here, one more just over the head, I remembered. Okay, if I go to new account here, it's not like it's adding a new account. This is where, see, it's confusing. So existing account, you have already created an account inside here in the administration. I showed you before that you can just create accounts there as well and give delegation to them. So if you go to new account, this is not as we create new account in the Active Directory. This is new account, and now it's gonna go for existing account. See, that's why I got it. Even before I was like that, the first time we get confused. So just go for new account, and now it's gonna go for existing. So new account for SCCM. Existing account inside SCCM. If you created an account, it will refer, SCCM will refer to that as existing account. If it's a new account, that's actually new for SCCM but already existing in Active Directory. SCCM admin, check name. Okay, and you know what, there's a very good I think you will only see that or maybe in some other software, but in SCCM you will see that a lot, that try to verify if this account has access to some critical folders. This is very good, and we should always go this way. Test connections there, right? So this account, okay, let's put the password for this account. We're just making sure in an SCCM environment, what am I doing? Okay, we're just making sure in an SCCM environment that this account has access to any of the network shares. So it's just either data sources Active Directory, we can verify, or we can just put a network share here actual. So if I click test connection, it says successfully verified. This account can access Active Directory, which is just an extra verification I've added here. So I'm just saying that SCCM, please discover all my computers and use the privileges of my domain admin account. Right? That's all we did on this page. Press OK. If you go to the second tab, which is polling here, again the delta discoveries, whatever changes, maybe I've added 2 new. Later I'm going to be adding Windows 10 as well, right? So delta discovery should discover after 5 minutes. Every 5 minutes it's checking Active Directory, so it's going to discover, oh, there's another Windows 10 added. Okay, cool. So it's going to add or discover that as well and add to the the device inventory. Okay, Active Directory attributes is, so we have discovered system through, all the computers are discovered by SCCM by accessing the domain or specific computers container or specific
domain controllers container. But here we can define extra attributes that when we are trying to search for a computer, for example, go for display name, or for example, go for employee ID inside the Active Directory, which is related to some specific computer, or any kind of extra attributes, define home phone for the guy whose computer you're about to discover, or location, New York computers only, cell phone, middle name. So these are the extra attributes that if you want to add, it's going to discover the systems according to the criteria mentioned here. Options, again, if the computer did not log in for 90 days, don't discover it, right? So these are that setting again. Apply, yes, okay. Excuse me. So this is Active Directory system discovery. User discovery, yes, go ahead. It's just refresh. Okay, I'll just go to the properties of the user discovery. Again, I'm just gonna tell it, go to Active Directory, go to the top container, browse the SCCM domain, exact same drill I did in system discovery, and discover all the users across the domain. That's it. And yes, use the site server. I just wanted to make sure for the previous discovery for the systems that it could get discovered fast, so I specifically added that. Let's just test it if it discovers users with just site server, which it will do as well. Site server account is still our SCCM admin account, right? Press OK. Polling, again, yes, check every 5 minutes if there are new users. And again, if you want to discover users through extra information, extra attributes in the Active Directory, extra information in the Active Directory, then you can add that criteria as well. Apply, yes, okay. So excuse me, forest discovery, group discovery, system discovery, user discovery, all has been set. We're just putting SCCM to discover everything in the forest and network. Heartbeat, double click that. We're not supposed to touch it. Just let them make sure that all computers are up and running every week. That's the time frame we meet as well. So for our in our environment, sometimes discovery takes longer time, and it's the virtual machine is just beside our other virtual machine, and that's the only network we have. But you might not see the machine discovered. So sometimes we make changes that, hey, do the heartbeat every 1 hour here, just for heartbeat discovery. Try to discover it. Maybe we lose the machine for some reason, and we join the machine to the domain again, and then we want it discovered right then and there. So this is not the place to put the 1 hour and even every 7 minutes just do a discovery. But there's another place where we're gonna, in the client settings, we're gonna be putting some very, very small discovery times, so the SCCM would make sure that our machine is always in communication with the SCCM server. But anyway, it's 1 week heartbeat discovery data record to site, which is okay as well. We can come back here and change again. It's just making sure it's telling SCCM, hey, that machine is okay at Mr. SCCM, that machine is alive. Okay, apply that. I've just changed it from 1 week to 1 hour. In production environment, just keep it like that, or you don't want to increase network traffic every 1 hour for large network, right? For thousands of machines, you should not be doing that. And SCCM, typically they say don't touch it. That's all. Okay. Anyway, I told you why I did that, just so our machine should be always in contact. Every 1 hour it should just check if our machine is in contact or not. Network discovery, double click that. Here we have lots of criteria to discover. Configure settings to discover resources on the network that you cannot find by using the other discovery methods. We
if we cannot find what we are trying to find right now with the rest of the 4 methods, then this is the method they are recommending. Go by topology, go by IP address ranges, go all these ways. But let's not do this, let's not configure this. But anyway, we can define subnets here. What subnets we're going to be defining in the boundaries as well, right? Excuse me. So domain wide we can still discover by mentioning the domains. Maybe there are child domains as well that we want to discover, but when we have discovered already forest wide, we don't need to discover here this domain wide. If some machine is not being discovered at all, then come here, right? It says there's typically you don't need to configure it unless this is a last resort, right? SNMP devices, if you have enabled the SNMP counters, then you can discover switches, routers as well, printers through this. DHCP, if you enable this, then SCCM will actually communicate with DHCP and then try to, you know, retrieve all the IP addresses and then run discovery against those IP addresses and schedule whatever you configured before. So let's not touch this one, and really let's not touch that. It's disabled, let's keep it disabled for now, and we're gonna be checking if our previous methods really worked or not, right? That's why I made sure that the machines are joined. I specifically put that you know, configurations of the machines on the video, so you could know that all the steps I've took. Excuse me. So now, first thing was discovery methods. Second thing is boundaries. What are boundaries? And there is that default first site name mentioned here. When we did the forest discovery, when we configured that, it had detected, oh, there's a default first site name, oh, there's a SCCM domain here, so it created a boundary for us. Boundary just tells us that, or we are telling SCCM, hey, there's a boundary of, or there's a scope, there's an area, specific area that you need to search all the machines in, and just don't go searching in other areas. Suppose there are child domains there, there's our domain name is what? SCCM domain.local. Maybe there is Mississauga.sccm domain.local, there is New York.sccm domain.local, and London and other sites. Don't go ahead and just discover everything. Maybe we just want to, you know, we're in the Toronto branch, we just want to handle machines in the Toronto branch, right? So don't so there should be boundaries always, right? Maybe there's an SCCM admin there and they already have selected their boundaries and they're already communicating with those machines and they don't want you to mess their settings up. So boundaries, so it has discovered already a boundary. If I double click that, so it has discovered through forest discovery that this is the name of the domain, this is a site name, it's an Active Directory site. We haven't changed our site name to Toronto or anything, so it is also okay. If I go to site systems, nothing there already, and boundary groups. So we can group one or two boundaries. Suppose there is one building. Excuse me. Suppose there is one building here. There's Toronto office, and actually it has 2 floors. And each floor has 1,000 computers. So we can have 2 boundaries. Suppose for those 1,000 computers on each floor, first floor you have 192, 168, 200.10 up to 192.168.210.254 or whatever makes 1,000. Suppose that's the ranges you've given for first floor 1,000 computers, and the Second floor, 1000 computers also, you know, ranges start from 211.1 to 220.254, right? That's how we can accommodate 1000 computers with IP addresses, right? So the point is that maybe you create one boundary for, you know, this first floor. What a bad circle. Okay. Yay. See? Okay, and the second boundary for the second floor, right? And then make a boundary group of these boundaries, which means just that you're deploying MS Office. Do you want to just, you know, deploy it to this first floor only, or you want to apply it to the group? So we can use this criteria. This is just for discovery, actually, not for deployment. You want to discover within the first boundary all the computers. You want to discover on both these boundaries. So just go for boundary group and discover the whole thing, right? Or you want to just don't go for boundary group, just go for one boundary and discover all the computers in this boundary from this range to this range. So it's all discovery. Excuse me. So far so good. Everyone okay? You can type yes, and I will be relieved that I'm not talking to myself. No, I know that you're listening. Come on, but you know, sometimes it's hello everyone. So everything so far so good. You can type yes or no, and I could go ahead. This also gives me a time to grab a glass of water, but everyone is listening, and everyone is so far so good. Okay, so we're back from the break, and this is we're discovering boundaries and boundary groups. If I go back to the slide where we were talking about all the network discoveries, and if we just talked about boundary is a network location on the intranet that can contain one or more devices that you want to manage. Okay, local. Boundaries can be an IP subnet, Active Directory site name, IPv6 prefix, or an IP address range. And the hierarchy can include any combination of these boundary types, right? So through IP addresses, we can just you know, try to configure boundaries. To use a boundary, you must add the boundary to one or more boundary groups, and boundary groups are collections of boundaries. That's all you must. So when we are creating a boundary, what we need to create now is a boundary group. By using boundary groups, what do we get from there? Clients on the intranet can find an assigned site, which is in our case is Toronto, and locate content. So we're going to be you know, distributing some of the applications, so they can locate that through boundary groups. When they have to install software such as applications, software updates, and operating system images. So boundary groups help us do what? Clients on the intranet can find an assigned site. I'm going to show you now where's that assigned site, but it's all about which site is assigned to these clients, to our clients. So Toronto clients will know through, if you as a system administrator and SCCM administrator have assigned or put proper information in the SCCM software that you're going to be deploying to the client, and the boundary groups are properly configured in the SCCM server, so the clients would know that what site they have been assigned. So Toronto computers should be assigned Tor site, Tor site. That you must remember that when we are installing the SCCM, we had to assign a 3-letter word for a site. So Tor or Toronto is our site, but computers of London should have LON, and computers of you know, New York can have NYC. So 3-letter word for a site assigned. So that's what they discover when we have properly configured the boundary groups. So now I'm going to try to configure that. Let's just see. against system roles. So yes, the boundaries is the next thing. So if I go back to my SCCM here, boundary groups, I haven't created one. And if I go cancel, this is where we were, boundaries and sorry, and a single boundary here. If I right click that, which I did, went to the properties, and site systems, there was nothing to configure yet. And if I go to boundary groups, I can click add here, and I can see that there is nothing here showing. If there was a boundary group, it would show here, right? So cancel out from here, and now we're gonna go to boundary groups and right click and create a boundary group. So there's a boundary group. I can just say Tor Tor what's going on? So you guys, when you see that I think I'm writing and I'm not, you're like, ha ha ha, ha. Look, he cannot write and he's thinking. Okay, anyway, so Tor boundary group, so that's the name we're giving it. And then let's just click add now. So now it says that which Windows or which Active Directory site is this group, boundary group, connected to. So this is the default for site name, which means this physical area where our forest exists, right? Or this specific domain or root domain exists. So this is the only site we have for now, but if we had more sites, they would have all shown here, right? So I'm just selecting whatever is available on the only Active Directory site we have. So it has, this boundary group has been assigned to this Active Directory site. And if we go to references tab, now this is very important, we must not miss this. So before that, numbers are moving, right? Okay, cool. So we need to enable this, use this boundary group for the site assignment. That's what site assignment was, that Tor site, SCCM Tor site has been assigned to this boundary group, right? And within this boundary group, what do we have? We will be adding this boundary which we created, and this boundary has just the IP addresses of our local area. So what we are trying to do overall, we are creating boundaries just to make sure that it is this domain, Toronto domain, and it is this IP address site that we are trying to discover machines in, and that's what we're going to manage through SCCM. So that's why we are configuring all these boundaries and boundary groups and assigning it to the SCCM site, right? Excuse me. One more thing is that where is the content location? Where is that SCCM server in this site that the clients will be connecting to, right? So I'm gonna click add here, and there's that server, right? So click this server, server02.sccm-domain.local, and this has the content that the clients will be looking for. So specify the site system servers that are associated with this boundary group so that clients can locate content. Only distribution points and state migration points are valid content location. So when we talk about content, right? When we talk about content, excuse me, when we talk about content, it's either there on the distribution points, the software has to be distributed through distribution points and through state migration points. That's where, you know, during the migration, the user data is temporarily stored in state migration points. So our server 2 is both distribution point and state migration point for now, right? So if you have deployed distribution point role on a file server, which is a separate server other than the SCCM server, then you should be adding that file server as this content location server, right? Excuse me. So boundary has been created, and it will be now added to the boundary group that we have created. So apply. Okay, so this is the boundary group, and if I go to the boundary and properties, now there's that door boundary group showing here in the boundary groups, and it's already actually showing there, so it is part of the boundary group anyway. So this boundary is part of this boundary group, right? Because they're both connected to the same Active Directory site, default for site name, and same forest as well, same domain as well. Okay, so far we have gone through the discovery methods, we have gone through the boundaries, we have gone to the boundary groups. Since we started or initiated the discovery, let's just go to the assets and compliance area and check how many users or how many machines have been discovered. So if I go to assets and compliance, there is users area, and whoa, all the Active Directory users are there. Or were they there before? But anyway, it just discovered everything. Devices. Hey, now we have our SCCM Win 7 and Win 8 device and our server 1 and 2. So all devices, the 4 devices I have, and later I'm going to be adding Windows 10. We have all our devices discovered, which is good. But you can notice that under the name, the devices names are there, and then under the client, it's saying no. So what is this client? This is the SCCM client that we have yet to deploy to these devices. Once these clients are deployed to the devices over the network, they will start communicating from those Windows devices to the SCCM server. So sorry a minute. What happens is, what are we supposed to see here? These no's should be yes. If they're not yes, our Windows machines are not communicating through that SCCM client software with our SCCM server. So whenever in next onwards next classes, one of the main questions I'm going to be asking you all, are your machines showing here yes? And this is one of the screenshots, critical screenshots you must send me, that all your 4 machines are showing yes here, and that's gonna be tricky. So good luck. And I'm gonna have to do that too, but they better be showing yes if your machines are communicating. If they're showing no, you don't have clients to handle from your SCCM server. They better all be yes all the time. Okay, so devices discovered, we get that. Okay, there's a question from Michael. Yes, do we want the client on the DC as well? That's a very good question. No. So it is discovered. Okay, one more thing I needed to say because of that question, which is a good question, that do we need domain controller for that? So when we go to device collections, you can see down there, we're going to be creating our own collection, and the collection only means a group of devices. This is SCCM's way of grouping devices. So and we're going to be deploying software to collections. So it does ask, domain controllers, maybe we do not want to deploy MS Office to domain controllers. Maybe not Adobe Acrobat as well. But we still need to deploy Windows updates to all the domain controllers, right? Maybe you do not want SCCM to deploy Windows updates to domain controllers. Maybe because they are domain controllers, you may want to do it manually by just downloading the Windows updates. So it's up to you. In some companies, SCCM deploy Windows updates to domain controllers. So we can have a separate device collection created by the name of DC collection or domain controller collection, and we deploy only Windows updates to that collection, and we deploy all the other software to other collection.
So yes, that's a very valid question. That hey, would you want to the DC to be you know, in the list of discovered objects? Sometimes administrators don't even discover DC because the company policy is no, do not handle DCs through SCCM, because there's some level of automation there, automation through SCCM, right? And DCs are the most critical asset of a network. So uh, you know, some companies have a different rules. Some companies say no, it's okay. SCCM admins should just make sure that nothing happens through SCCM to DCs. Otherwise, they're gonna be in big trouble. So you can go manual, or you can specifically create separate collections for DC just to deploy anything to DC. But definitely, DCs must not be part of the collection where Windows 7, Windows 8 clients are part of, or member servers are part of. So you have to be very careful about creating collections. What's inside the collection? Maybe you're deploying a huge amount of software, not huge, like MS Office or big software there, and somehow DC is there as well. So when we make collections, of course, we're gonna know that too. It's a very valid question. Okay, so boundaries were created. We have our 4 machines discovered in assets and assets and compliance. We discovered our 4 machines. If I go back to my administration, there's the discovery methods we did, boundaries we did. If we go further to the slide, so we're going to be going for system roles. So system roles are there are lots of them, and if I go one by one, it's just a small definition, but we're deploying 3 of the roles right now. Because they're going to be important. But let me just fly by all those roles, although you will have this PDF separately available with all the definitions, and we're going to be deploying some of the roles during this course, or majority of the roles. So site system role is deployed by default, a computer on which you run the configuration manager setup program, and which provides the core functionality. So interview question, what is site system role? So that's where you install actually the SCCM software, and this has the core functionality of the site, you know, all the core functionality which we are not trying to do. Any computer, either server or workstation, hosting a site system role is referred to as a site system server, where the core functionality of SCCM can be handled from is site system role, you know, relates to that. Site database server, of course, we deployed the SQL server, which has all the information for the assets, so that's our SQL server. Component server, this is any server running the config manager executive service, and we're going to be talking about that in detail later. Management point, definitely very important, provides policy and service location information to clients and receives configuration data from clients. The management point facilitates communication between a client and site server by storing and providing policy and content location. So management point really is the main communication between the Windows clients having SCCM software and the SCCM server itself, right? Distribution point, we know if we can deploy software packages from there. Reporting services, yes, for creating reports. State migration point, I did talk about that before, that you can migrate when you're migrating from Windows 7 to Windows 8. The user data on Windows 7 is placed temporarily on a network share, and the state migration point provides that share, and then when finally Windows 8 is set up, so that user data from that temporary network share is delivered to the Windows 8 area. Very important. Okay, software update point, this is where WSUS comes in, so that when we are on WSUS lab, or you know, through SCCM, you want to deploy Windows updates to Windows 8 and Windows 7, so we're going to be adding software update point there. And system health validator point, this is for NAP policies. So when your machines are connecting to your infrastructure, their health is validated. Maybe do they have all the Windows updates? Do they have firewall on or off according to the company policy? Do they have latest virus signatures? So this is all about system health validator point. You have to add that, and NAP has to be installed as well, network access protection. Endpoint protection is for Microsoft's
So this is just for active protection service, for malware, for and also if you want to do the encryption of the disk, as well as other endpoint, all the client machines protection. Fallback status point, very important. Suppose your SCCM server is not communicating, it's frozen, and you have another SCCM server. So FSP provides an alternative location for clients to send up status messages during installation when they cannot communicate with their management point. So if they cannot, there can be another alternate point where they can send message, hey, we cannot communicate with the SCCM server. So this role helps you monitor client installation and identify the clients that are unmanaged because they cannot communicate with their management point. So failback status point just says that those clients where those Windows machines which are not communicating for some reason, they can still send status messages to the management point, or they cannot communicate or contact with the current management point, and if you have a second one, they can send a message that, hey, we cannot communicate with this one. Out of band service point provisions and configures Intel AMT based computers for out of band. Out of band management is just those computers which are not discovered by or not part of your Active Directory infrastructure, or which are just not part of your network somehow and part of the work group. So we're going to be talking about those as well. Asset Intelligence synchronization point connects to System Center Online to download Asset Intelligence catalog information and upload uncategorized titles. So Asset Intelligence, there's a long list in the catalog. There will be a long list of what type of machines are there: Windows 7, Windows 8, Professional, Ultimate, Enterprise, all the editions, and then all kinds of other software and their editions and their service pack levels. There's an information that it's going to collect from Microsoft site and try to compare, and then send you or offer you that list that, hey, whatever, maybe you have Windows 7 Professional and don't have Ultimate or Enterprise Edition, so you can just select that title and then discover those machines there. So it's just going to give you those titles that, oh, I want to discover that, I have that as well. So other than that, application catalog, this is what we're going to install now. Provide software information to the application catalog website from the software library. So this is what Microsoft refers to as, hey, give some independence to or freedom to clients or end users as well. If they're offered a web page where they see a lot of software mentioned, so what happens in our cell phones, in iPhone, Android, we connect to App Store, and there are millions of applications there. Suppose, okay, we are technical people. There are many non-technical people who know what to do with the applications. They just click it, the application gets installed, and it's just working. So this is exactly that concept, that in a Windows environment, you should package some of the software in a way that the users have to adopt reader. Suppose if it asks for a key, if it asks for, oh, you want to use this version, that version, so this all should be unattended, and when the application catalog is presented to the user just selects, clicks, and schedules it. Okay, install after 1 hour on my machine this Adobe Reader or new version of Adobe Reader, and it should just install. That's it, and there should be no touch from the user side. Maybe the company policy, okay, the user have to just accept the license agreement, maybe even not that, so it depends. But this is where it goes like App Store, and you can just deploy any application, right? So it has to be created, the software has to be packaged, the software has to be perfectly tested for the user machines, user environment. Okay, application catalog, website point, there's a service point, and then there's a website point. Provides users with a list of available software from the application catalog. Enrollment proxy point, these are both, one is a server, one is a service. Enrollment proxy point manages enrollment requests from mobile devices so that they can be managed by configuration manager. So that's important. We will try to do this stunt. I'm calling it stunt because of the way our network is. It's just virtual network. But we're gonna still try to do that. You know, we're gonna still try to do this SCCM connection to mobile device, and I'm gonna show you actually how to do that. It's interesting as well. Enrollment point uses PKI certificates to complete mobile device enrollment. So if you really, you know, it has to be secure, so you have to put a certificate there to really check to have a secure communication between the mobile device and the SCCM server. And that's the long list we were talking about. So what we need to do is we're going to be deploying 2 application catalog web service points. Today was a lot of theory, but without theory we can't go ahead, but I promised you a lot of action coming for the rest of the half hour, and the next class is all action. So anyway, theory is very important, and you need to at least go once with, oh, this is that. Okay, nice meeting you. Okay. So what we're about to do is we're gonna be just adding the two's roles, actually 3 roles. So there will be the web catalog, as well as the FSP, which was the failback. So what we need to do is we need to go to administration, then go to sites, and then add the site system roles. I'm just looking at my screen, millions of screenshots as well, so I do not miss anything. So I'm just going for administration here. What we are about to do, we are deploying. Okay, there's a. Oh no, there's a. Okay, so we're just going to be deploying now this site system role. There are 3 site system roles we need to deploy. So I'm just going to go for administration here. I'm just gonna then go for site configuration. There is, under site configuration, we have sites, which will just show our site, and then there is that second one is site servers and site system roles. So what we can do is I'm just add site system roles. So definitely we need to go to add site system roles, right click there, add system roles. But I want to show you, if you are here in sites, this is it. Yeah, add sites and roles. From here you can add, or just go to servers and site system roles and just right click it, and also you can do the same thing, add site system roles. So let's just add 2 roles. This is just like in Windows environment, you may be adding a DHCP or DNS role. In SCCM, we are deploying a web catalog and failback status roles. So we may need to further configure them, but for now we're just going to add them. So again, site system roles, right click, add site system roles, right? Okay, let's go ahead. Here we can, so it's just saying select a server to use a site system role. Yes, this is the server on which we are deploying this role. Yes. Specify an FQDN for the site system role for use on the internet. No, we're not connecting to internet. Require the site server to initiate connections to the site system. After the installation of the site system roles, the site server initiates all connections. Yeah, we don't need that too. So use the site server's computer account to install the site system, which is okay. So we're not changing anything here. This is the forest name and domain name. Next, we don't have a proxy server, but in large organizations there are proxy servers as well. If there are, just put that name there. Otherwise, we're just going to keep it to default and keep it unchecked. Next. Okay, there are all the roles. I said 20, but yes, there are more roles, but there are 6 or 7 already installed, right? So the rest is there, so the total would be like at least 17 or 18. No, there are 20, or more than 20 actually. So what I'm doing is I'm just going to go for application catalog web service point and application catalog website point. These are the roles for SCCM what does catalog web service point do? We're going to be seeing it later as well, but in order to understand, this is going to offer a catalog web page where whatever software we will be deploying, that software should be appearing and showing up there on the web page as an option for the clients to deploy that software, right? So it's going to offer a web page that's going to show a list of software, and for that we need these two roles, right? So you're going to see that in action anyway. Once we're installing, one more thing we need is fallback status point, and that's where, you know, if your current management point somehow is not communicating. So if we have another SCCM server and that has a management point, or if we have another server just with a management point, then the clients will communicate to that management point, hey, your first management point is not communicating, we don't know what policies there, we cannot talk to SCCM, help. Okay, they don't say help. No, they do. Okay, anyway, so fallback status point here, application catalog website point, application catalog web service point. These three I've selected. Click next. Nothing here. Number of state messages, they can send 10,000 messages, which is okay. Throttle interval, they should not take over all the bandwidth and resources of the server, so it's just 3600 seconds. They can just use the resources of the server for that much time. Next. It's a web page, so they're going to create a website, right? The application name will be, which is okay, whatever name they want to suggest. It's not encrypted, so port 80 for now. Next. Site server name, okay, this should be the site server name through which we're going to access the web page, which is offering all the software, right? So net BIOS name is this, HTTP port 80 is there, ensure that the following client settings are configured. Yes, though all the default options are still okay. Next. Organization name, so on that web page, what do you want to write there? So Toronto, I'm just gonna write Toronto web page, and the site color could be anything. Blue is okay, but you can just put that web page color, the background color could be anything, where we're going to be offering the software. Next, and finito. So what we deployed here is later we're going to be configuring or trying to know how it looks like, but right now we need to understand that these are the two site system roles that we added. If I just click the sites here and then go back to the servers and site system roles, now it should be showing all the deployed ones. So there is that application catalog and there's that fallback status point as well, right? So these are three site system roles we added for SCCM, and later we're going to be talking about we're going to be configuring when we deploy application. Then we're going to be opening that web page or trying to configure that web page to show what the application we packaged and deployed should be showing here. So for now we just deployed that. Now the next thing is that we're going to go for let me just get back to the slide, is configuring client settings, which is very, very important before we start deploying the client software. So if I go there, so there on Toronto site, if we have lots of clients, in fact, if we just put it like this is SCCM server, and there are lots of client machines here. Windows 7, Windows 8, Windows 10, Windows XPs even. So the SCCM server will be deploying the SCCM client software on Windows machines, and before that client software, SCCM client software needs to be deployed. Before that, you have to configure this client software, right? So some of the client settings, for example, these clients must know that they are connected to Toronto site, and there are web catalog, we just installed those roles. So these roles are installed. So this client will be telling everything how the SCCM is configured and how SCCM intends to control them, right? So we need to first configure the client, then we're going to deploy it, right? So this is the configuration of that client stage we're talking about right now. Configuring client settings in Configuration Manager. In System Center 2012, you can specify client settings at a collection level, allowing you to define different settings. We have the flexibility to create multiple client device or client user settings and apply it to different collections. Okay, I'm going to show you now. When you create a client setting, a priority is assigned to it. Those with a higher priority win over settings with lower priority. So which client settings should be deployed if there are multiple client settings you have put? In one client settings you have put that there should be SCCM should be communicating every 1 hour. In another client setting you have put that SCCM server should be communicating with client every 1 week. So if the 1 hour client setting is on the top, it will apply, right? It will have more priority. Note that the default client settings has the priority of 10,000, which means you can have 9999 client settings that would have higher priority over the default client settings. So the main priorities number given is 10,000. The lower the number, the higher the priority, right? All client settings in System 2012 are managed in the Configuration Manager in Client Settings. Let's just go there now. A set of default settings is supplied. When you modify the default client setting, these settings are applied to all clients. You can also configure custom client settings. So we can have a default client settings. Let's just go there and let me show you now. And we can have custom client settings. And do we know what are the client settings? So we can just this is where, so we have already added 3 roles in SCCM. Now we're just going for client settings. Before we deploy them to thousands of Windows clients, we need to configure those settings, right? There is a default client setting. So now I need to refer to my notes where it is where I have tested it vigorously, and I'm going to try to do that there here as well. So what I'm trying to do here is I'm going to create a custom client setting by creating a custom device client setting, and then I'm going to, so you need to really be careful about this, and if you're following then this is mucho importante, like everything else, but this is more important, right? So client settings, there's default client settings. Priority is 10,000. This client setting has not been deployed to any of the Windows machines, so it's 0, and this is default. If I double click that, all the client settings are showing here, and you can see these are a lot of them. Like when you have a small software, SCCM software sitting in 10,000 machines, suppose there are 10,000 machines in a large environment, all those 10,000 machines could behave according to how you set up the settings here for the client, SCCM client, right? So we're going to be touching some of the client settings by creating our own custom client settings. Right click, create custom client device settings. So again, what I did is right click, client settings, create custom client device settings. So now we need to first select which of the settings we want to include in this custom device client settings, and those settings we will further configure as well, and I'm going to show you how. So client policy, let's choose that. Whatever we choose here is going to show here. This means, and these whatever is showing here is going to be actually be applied to all the Windows machines. If this is the client device settings policy we're going to choose to deploy to Windows machines, right? So client policy I'm selecting, compliance settings I'm selecting, computer agent I'm selecting, computer restart I'm selecting. So computer restart you can just see by the name. through SCCM we can restart many computers. And then there is remote tools and software deployment. So these are a few of the client settings. We can have software inventory, metering, updates. We're going to be adding these settings in future, but right now a total of 6 client policies I have selected for my custom, but we have to give a name here as well, right? So on the right side I'm giving a name, so it's Tor custom device policy. So Toronto custom device policy, device settings. Oh, sorry, these are settings, not policy. Settings. So 6 of them selected. While this same window is there, oops. So we can just go further for the client policy. So we don't have to press OK here. We don't have to cancel out here. I'm just gonna click client policy here. So the client policy first one says what? Specify the settings for devices. These settings override the default settings when they are assigned to a collection. This will show to every policy anyway. Specify how client computers retrieve policy. So client computers, Windows 7 machines, Windows 8 machines, they will retrieve policies. Client policy polling interval minutes, every 60 minutes they're going to try to retrieve the policy. Enable user policy on clients, enable user policy requests for internet clients, no. So what we need to understand here is that client policy interval, this will be minutes. Every 60 minutes they will try to communicate with the SCCM server and try to retrieve the policy. We can drastically change those times here. Compliance settings I've checked, but you know what, every 60 minutes we need some quick results here, right? So I'm telling it, hey, check every 5 minutes. This try to communicate with my SCCM server every 5 minutes. I want some quick results. Suppose I'm deploying an application, I need this client to be communicating with my SCCM server every 5 minutes. Do not do it in production environments, obviously, but here we need some quick results, so I'm just changing these policies here, right? I just put on client policy 5 instead of 60 minutes. Second, I'm going for compliance settings. Specify how client computers retrieve compliance settings. So it's a yes for compliance settings here, and enable user data. So if I just go to compliance settings, this is supposed to be the default. We're not changing anything in the compliance settings. I'm just going for computer agent, the third one. Now here we need to change some stuff. So I created some screenshots from best practices from Microsoft. Remember we added a web catalog role just a few minutes ago. So for that web catalog role, this client software, SCCM software, when it reaches Windows 7, Windows 8 machines, it's going to tell those machines that who's offering your application catalog website point. So our server 2 is offering that, right? So I'm gonna click this set website, and it should appear actually there, because if you install the web catalog point, your link will be there. If you do not install the web catalog point role, then this will not appear here. Like you cannot offer a web page that is showing applications to the users, but we did deploy that web catalog point role, so that's why this is showing here that now the SCCM client will go to Windows 7 or 8 machines and tell them, hey, this is the point from where you can retrieve the web page that's going to offer you the applications, right? So let's just go for FQDN here, and so I just selected the FQDN one and press OK. It's going to show, so default application catalog website point is server 2. We're still doing all the server side settings for now, and because we're going slow, we're going step by step. We're trying to make sure when we start doing the deployment, everything is in place
and it works perfectly the first time. Normally troubleshooting will be there. So add default application catalog website to Internet Explorer trusted sites zone. So when you try to retrieve the web catalog page, just add it automatically to the trusted sites zone. So that has to be yes, right? It should be trusted site, otherwise it's not going to open unless you manually add to trusted site. And if it's 10,000 machines, of course you can't tell everyone hey, go there and add this site to the trusted site. Then you can see our web page, which is offering lots of applications. Okay, organization name displayed in software center. So again, it's Toronto branch. I just put this name there on the web page, right? And what else? Other than that, yeah, so this is it for this page, but later we're gonna come and try to mess some more. But what I did till now is made a change here, set website, and just pressed it, change it from no to yes, and Toronto branch here. Other than that, I did not do anything else, right? So computer restart. So display a temporary notification to the user that indicates the interval before the user is logged off or the computer restarts. So we're giving 90 minutes to the user, so restart warning will come if you have to restart through SCCM for some reason, and the user is doing some work and it's not a weekend. But let's just change to 60. So it will be a 60 minutes of time given to the user before the computer restarts. Then let's just check remote tools as well as software deployment. So remote tools, if we go there, enable remote tools. So that's where we can make remote connectivity, remote connections. So first we enable the remote tools. So I'm on the remote tools, and I have clicked configure. When we click configure, there is that enable remote control on client computers. That's what you were asking, Ali, right? So we can remotely connect to computers, but if the client machines are all having firewalls open, then firewall exceptions should be added there. If no firewall exception is specified, remote control may not work. So if we click this, and this, and press OK, firewall exception profile. So if I click back again, what I did was that I've enabled the remote control, and if the firewalls on Windows 7 and Windows 8 are open, enabled, active, then automatically add the exception for the port for the traffic of SCCM remote control. So this means that firewall will not stop or block our attempt to remotely connect to a machine, right? So yeah, this is it. So you have to enable it first. So when this custom setting reaches every Windows machine, and if they have firewall on, it will be set for you to for us to remotely connect. Okay, I'm really hungry right now. Okay, and we press OK. So there are other changes, but I am just taking help of my notes, which I carefully configured and took from where. So prompt user for remote control permission, that's where you want to be, either you want to be anonymous, which is not good, like you're not even want to take permission of the users that hey, can I connect to your machine or not. This prompt user for remote control permission, like you're telling the user, hey, can I connect or not. So obviously in a network there are rules, and you're connecting to a user should know, user should be prompted, yes, somebody's trying to connect, so can that person connect, and you say yes. So this means here you can change all the settings for how remote connectivity will work and how anonymous you want to be, or you want to really tell the users, and this is the case, we should be telling the users, right? Okay, software deployment. So there's a question there, if AV control firewall,
antivirus controls the firewall, then firewall, then you have to stop that antivirus for a little time, so automatically SCCM could make those configurations. But even if antivirus is controlling that firewall, this is the policy that may work with it. You just have to make some changes in the, suppose there's some McAfee antivirus, so you have to make in there should be some option already there that, hey, there's an SCCM server that requires some exceptions added in the firewall automatically when the SCCM client gets deployed to the Windows 7 8 machines. So you have to tweak McAfee side as well for that, or whichever antivirus you're adding, you have to tweak that as well, that let SCCM automatically add those. So in my case, I would just go for, if that's the situation, definitely that's a valid question. So I would just Google it, or I will just contact McAfee people. Hey, I'm trying to do that. First I'll try myself, and I don't think it's going to work automatically because it's not Microsoft product. So I'll just contact the McAfee people. I'm sure they must have that tweak that turn it on and then it's going to do that, or maybe they already support that. But yeah, we have to do our homework. Okay, so then there is software deployment there, and what we need to do here is, so there is 7 days here. We can just change it to 2 days. What it says, specify how client computers deploy software, schedule re-evaluation for deployments, re-evaluation. So I'm just going to change that to earlier time. Otherwise we can just change it to minutes as well. Schedule re-evaluation, so they will re-evaluate once the software is deployed. Is it still deployed? Is there a problem? Has it gone? Is it not there anymore? Uninstalled. So if it discovers that, it's going to reinstall that if it's configured that way. So it's just that re-evaluate if after the installation everything is okay or not, right? That's okay. I put it 2 days, but it doesn't, it's not that significant. So if I go to general again, up there, I think there is one I missed. There's that security software. Yep, just done. So that's it. Software deployment. Okay, press OK. So this is we have created custom device settings to deploy to. So this means that now we're ready to deploy the SCCM client software to. So SCCM client deployment to the Windows machine. Now it is, we can just give it one try just to start deploying at least one, but there are several methods to do that. Installing the configuration manager client through client push wizard. So if I go quickly to my slide here, there is configuration manager R2 client installation. That's the tricky part actually. If I put that's the tricky part. There are many ways you can push the client, SCCM client. Client push installation. Client push installation happens when an SCCM server makes a network connection to the client, a machine where configuration manager client is to be installed, and then begins the client installation. For this, the system must be discovered and the administrators should have configured the firewall exceptions. In our case, we have firewall down and we have administrative rights, domain admins, right? So this method requires the administrator to start the client push installation on selected computers. That's what we need to do. Automatic site-wide client push installation, we can configure. So there's that cool configuration, good configuration, which lets us automate this client push installation task. So what happens is that you can do automatic site-wide client push installation, which we can do now. And what it does is that if you have joined a new machine to a network, to a domain, it's going to automatically start trying to deploy the SCCM client to that new Windows machine which has just joined the network. So this is very cool, and you know, apart from other ways, we're going to configure that. And then there is software update point installation. This method installs the client by using the configuration manager software updates feature. No prior discovery of system is required, but software update we're gonna configure later for Windows updates as well. Then we're gonna try to check that. Then right now we're not installing that. Manual installation, we're gonna try this as well. This method allows you to install the configuration manager clients manually. The installation can be initiated by copying the SCCM setup. So this is the exe file which deploys the client. Very important. You should know as a system admin, SCCM admin, CCM setup is a file. If somehow for few machines it's not deploying, just go remotely, you know, put the file there and execute it. It's gonna deploy the client, right? And running it with an user account that has enough permissions. This program and its supporting files can be found in the client folder. We're gonna do that as well. We're gonna check that how we can deploy clients several ways. So follow the SCCM manager installation folder on the site server and management points. I'm going to show you that. Group policy based deployment, we're going to do that as well. This is just, you know, software installation the way we do with group policy. We just need to have the SCCM client MSI file, and we have that. I'm going to show that too. Using logon scripts through SCCM, yes, we can do that. Using computer imaging, so if you're creating a computer image and deploying it to a bare metal machine, in that image just deploy the client manually and just deploy that image to hundreds of machines. The SCCM client will already be there in the image, right? Upgrade installation, this method uses your existing software distribution infrastructure to upgrade the client. Yes, it's gonna upgrade the client. So let's install at least, there's very less time remaining, but I need to at least touch it. So we're going to be deploying the client to our Windows 7 and Windows 8 machine. I'm back in my SCCM dashboard. This is the most crucial part of all, that you need to have that client on the Windows 7 machine. Obviously, without that, you don't need, I mean, what's the purpose of SCCM anyway? We have to really know all the ways we can deploy the clients. In assets and compliance, if I go back to the devices, we have the 4 machines inside of I would make sure that at least the client, of course, is installed on Windows 7 and 8. Not at least, that's the target. If I right click Windows 8 right now, and there is install clients. This is the manual way of installing client, but this is what we're going to do it later as well. Right now I want to show you the site, the site-wide automated way, which means that whenever a computer is discovered, right away deploy the client. Let's just configure that first, because that's going to be very helpful in our later future labs. So for that, okay, there's a manual way which I put there in my slide, so I'm just going further away from it. Just give me a sec. And I want to start with the site automated way. Sorry, just a sec. Okay, so site-wide installation and client push. Yeah, so let's just go to sites here. Sites, and then there's on the top right you can see settings, right? So I went to the sites, under the site configuration, which is in the administration area, and then I went to settings, and there is that client installation settings, and there's that client push installation. So again, it's administration, then site configuration, expand that, then the site, click that. On the right side, go to settings, and then go to client installation settings and go to client push installation, right? So when I click this, now there's that information that we need to configure. Enable automatic site-wide client push installation. Yes, sir. Second thing, you want to deploy it to servers, workstations. Whoa. Okay. Servers, workstations, and configuration manager site system servers, not the SCCM server themselves.
but workstations and servers, yeah, okay. There's that here option that never install the config manager client on domain controllers. Exactly your question, Michael. So yes, definitely we should not go for that. It's the default setting. And then there's another setting, always install the config manager on domain controllers. If that's the company policy, that's how you go. It's up to the administrator. Then what account it should use when it is automatically deploying the clients to the SCCM. So accounts, go to this area, and that's confusing, existing and new account. Just go for new account, which is just going to retrieve it from our Active Directory. So SCCM admin, check name, press OK, password. So we are making sure that when it is automatically deploying the SCCM client to the Windows machine, it should use this account, and we are verifying. So now it's asking for network share, because over the network it's going to deploy to the Windows machine this SCCM software client. So it's asking if this account has access to any of the network share. So this means that I'm just gonna give it the path of my domain controller, which is server01 / server01 / maybe there are shared folders there. If I click browse now, yes, there's netlogon and syswall. Double click syswall, select folder. So it's not going to make any changes here. It's just testing access. So test connection, yes, successful. So if this has access, this means it can have access on any other machine as well. It has basically network access. That's what it wants to basically do. We can just put here any other Windows 8 machine as well for a test. Press OK. So this account will use to deploy automatically all the newly discovered machines. Installation properties, yes, this is the site code that the client will tell the Windows machine. SCCM client will tell that, hey, you're part of the Toronto site. Don't go for London or New York distribution points. Stay in Toronto. Okay, so that's apply. Okay, this is what we did. That we told that whenever you discover a machine, it doesn't have a client, just go ahead and just deploy it. Okay, one thing. Second thing, manual way, right? Manual way. You know what? Once we enabled this, if I go to my Windows Client 8 machine, I don't think it's going to just right away deploy it. But if I go to my Windows 8 machine and go Task Manager, just to be on the look, if there's a CCM setup.exe showing here in the Task Manager at any point, that would tell that already the client is installation CCM setup task. So here in Windows 8 nothing. In Windows 7 if I go and go Task Manager and nothing. Processes, in processes there's CCM setup is not showing here, which is so one more thing I need to check, if Windows 7 Windows 8 machines do not have firewall open, right? So in Windows 7 I am control panel, system and security, Windows firewall, hey, domain firewall is open. I don't want to add exceptions, so just turn it off, and it is already on automated mode on the server side that, hey, just deploy it if you can. I'm gonna go to this Windows 8 and again go to the control panel and go to control panel and then system security. I hate those arrows in Windows 8. Okay, I hate you, Mr. Arrow. Okay, forget system and security. Windows firewall, and yes, it was always open. It is also open, so please make sure on client side firewalls are off. Close, and oh seriously, hey, I always do it the first time. Okay, let's play arrow. Hey, it's done. Anyway, so processes on Windows 8, nothing there. Windows 7 CCM setup is not showing there. We can run some commands as well, but right now I'm just going to show you the second way as well, which is in the assets and compliance.
there's that machine showing there. Right click the machine. This is the manual way now. Right click Windows 8, suppose that one machine, or maybe can we select? Yes, we can select both, and right click and install client is still there. For both machines, okay, let's try to do that. Install client. The wizard starts. Next, allow the client software to be installed on domain controllers. Just forget it. Always install the client software. When a computer already has the configuration manager client installed, you can repair, upgrade, or reinstall. It doesn't have it already, so that's why we're just putting that there. And then there's that uninstall existing configuration client before the client is installed. So if you have older client configuration manager and you're pushing it manual, so you would want the older one to be uninstalled, or the existing one if even if it's the same one. And yes, that client machine is inside the Toronto site, right? Next and next. Okay, it says successfully. It's quite, and it says 2 machines, right? That doesn't mean it is installed. It just says that this wizard has successfully completed. So let's not be fooled by this successful, that client side has deployed and the SCCM is successfully deployed there. So close this and go back. Oh, there it is. Woohoo! SCCM setup.exe is underway in Windows 8. SCCM setup. Oh, already we have enabled the site-wide, right? The automatic site-wide deployment. Maybe Windows 8 just took it from there. But SCCM setup is going on. That's the only proof that the installation is going on right now, right? So give it time. And SCCM client on here is, sometimes we have to really shake the machine, maybe restart it, maybe refresh it. Doctor setting, diagnose. This is just trying to make sure all the network cards and everything is okay. There are other ways as well, but I'm gonna go in depth in next class now. But I just wanted to show you that, hey, basically we're trying to just deploy a client. There are 2 ways there. Then we're gonna deploy with group policy as well later. And client 8 machine SCCM setup is, this is what you need to see on this client side, right? So I have just run this diagnostics and verifying the network. If it finishes, oh come on. So just for the record of the video, I mean, I just tried to initially cancel. There was no problem anyway. I was just trying to refresh that. Okay. Well, Windows 7 may get it later. I'll keep the machines up, and Windows 8 is showing, so it's in the process of installation right now. So what kind of client settings are we expecting? I'm just gonna show that quickly. If I go to the control panel, if I go to control panel here, and in the Windows 8 I am there, system and security, again where the firewall setting was there. In the end, you should be seeing configuration manager. If you can see configuration manager here, yes, your client is either installing, oh, it's installed already, because you don't see SCCM setup.exe here anymore. And if you go down here, configuration manager is there. There you go, the client is installed. If you click open, it's still, okay, this should be filled up. Components, actions should have more than this. We're gonna be talking a lot. Site, correct site, Tor, right? Cache, we're gonna talk about that later. Network, we're gonna talk about that as well. But the client is there, and SCCM might take longer time. Maybe I need to restart this, or run NSLookup, but it's going to do that too. But anyway, this is one good example that you should have configuration manager inside control panels and security for 7, Windows 8, Windows 10 as well. So guys, this is it, 10 o'clock. So try to do the class till here and engage me, involve me, and try to put it on WhatsApp, and any errors you get, try to put it on group policy, Google group, so we could all see that error and learn from that and try to resolve that together. Also do Google before or during, when you have uploaded on the Google group your error. Try to Google yourself as well, because this is searching skills is what we need to, is part of the troubleshooting as well, right? So far everything is gone perfect.
and you just need to follow this video, and screenshots are expected. So create a screenshot of every step you're doing and put it in the Microsoft Word file and send me. And also pending screenshots, do that too. And again, and in the last, I always do upcoming courses are Exchange and Office 365 together, as well as Microsoft Private Cloud, which is including Azure, as it has some certain part of SCCM, SCVMM, as well as some introductory bonus of lab of AWS. AWS highest paying admins are of AWS Architect, Cloud Architect, 125,000 per year. Okay, anyway, the cloud one is really, everyone's going crazy. If you're interested, let me know, email me. Any other course you're interested, email me that too. Okay, anyway, this is it. Good night to all, and let me know if there were any problem during setting up all this. And please do the quiz there under day 2. There are just 3 questions. Perform that quiz and send me the screenshots. Okay, everyone, good night. See you Tuesday.